here. So I don't know where you guys want to start with this story. It's a pretty fucked up one. Obviously, the more you dig into it, you kind of get into a dark rabbit hole. I'll start with Johnson on this one. What was kind of your initial thoughts when you heard about this story, especially as a Christian woman, the only
Yeah.
proper Christian woman on this panel? Yeah, what is your thoughts on this
Well, you
whole
can be
thing?
improper Christian and Jesus still loves you. So, but
Mm-hmm.
um
Yo, woman. The
yeah.
designer who's getting sued is the woman. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead and sue them and go ahead and like just they really should just close. This is disgusting.
Yeah.
And this is awful. I mean like I I feel like children like people laugh at like movies like Grease because like they're like 35-year-old people playing teenagers or whatever. And of
Yeah.
course they're like smoking back then as much or a lot more than they are today. But it's like on some level that's much nicer to deal with than to have like actual child actors doing stuff in Hollywood and with these big fashion labels and stuff.
Yeah.
And unfortunately these kind of things have been swirling around for years and years and nobody does anything. Um but like you like you've seen it over and over again. Like human trafficking is a real problem, and
Yep.
it's not some of it's legal when you do it stuff with stuff like this. And that's I mean that's kind of what a lot of businesses are talking about, like now with China and a lot of the human rights abuses that they've been doing with the Uyghur Muslims. And it's just really sick and sad, and somebody should just. I mean, I'm all for hellfire and damnation in this case. So.
Yeah. By the way, I posted the Twitter thread to the ones that you guys can look up on your own. It goes much deeper than what we talked about. There's even some issues there that are probably too disturbing to talk about here on YouTube, but it's all there. And like I said, it felt like when we talked about this, like Duke Nukem just said, it's not a conspiracy, it's real and it's actually happening. I know you guys are old enough to remember like YouTube, like back like 15, 20 years ago when people were posting like conspiracy theory videos and you talk about the Illuminati and the occultism, and everyone would always think that, oh, those people are crazy, those people are nuts. No one believes that Rihanna and Jay-Z worship the devil and things of that nature. Like we always just writ it off back then. But now you're starting to see it more and more blatantly. Now that you start thinking to yourself, yeah, I don't think it's like a coincidence in like anymore the shit that is going on and in a lot of this world. It's like it's getting to a point where it's right up in your face. You can't really even deny it, to the point where back then you may be able to say that you're just naive or just ignorant to a lot of things that are in play. Now they're just putting things like right in your face. Be like, I'm the movie we talked about real quick. There was like some cannibal love story movie that just came out this week. I think it was like Bones and All
Yeah.
and whatnot. And it's like after reading this story and seeing like a lot of the context of the way that children were portrayed and a lot of the cannibalistic aspects of it, it's like, why the hell would I want to go sit and watch a 2.5 hour fucking cannibal love story by people who probably the same people who were responsible for this ad campaign to begin with? It's just like it's not something that I want to be a part of at this point.
Well, there's
But
been
there's something worse
unfortunately
going
for
on, by the way. There is something worse going on, and I found it while I was doing the story on Pixiv. Is
Mm-hmm.
why Pixiv stuff got changed is because they found that child porn was actually and necrophilia pictures or necrophile pictures were being shared on Pixiv, and they were trafficking it amongst like all this AI pictures because they found a loophole and they were trafficking it on Pixiv. It's happening on Twitter and it's actually under the lolly hashtag. It's been happening, and I heard it's been happening on YouTube as well. It's happening, and no one's talking about it at all. I didn't
Yeah.
even know about it until people in my Discord group were telling me about the one on Twitter. The YouTube stuff I found out while I was getting the stuff for Pixif. But God, it's just insanity, and it's only going to get even more insane because of the AI art. Because AI art is getting so realistic, people can't tell if it's real or not anymore.
Yeah, which is obviously a problem as well.
Yeah, there's
Or
been such a push for like just the normalization of degeneracy, especially in the last 20 years or so anyway.
yeah,
With the rise of the internet. I mean, like I've talked about this before on some other streams about how the internet started out as kind of like this wonderland, and now it's turning into the underworld.
like remember back in the day when like the worst thing you have to worry about on the internet was, hey, don't go into chat rooms and talk to people with weird avatars because they may be an adult man, and don't get yourself in trouble and stuff like that. Now it's like, Jesus, can we go back to those fucking days?
Well, part of it is because like there's a big push for like leniency when it comes to
Mhm.
crime too, because we don't want to hurt criminals' feelings. And I'm like, I think this is part of the reason that like the guillotine was so popular.
Yeah, or why bullets should be very popular moving forward as well.
Well, I was very late to this story. I didn't
Yeah.
look into it at all until Friday because I saw the post that you shared with the group.
Mhm.
I in like I just it's this stuff when it shows up absolutely haunts me and disturbs me to no end. When I first got on YouTube when I was 19 in 2008, I looked into like conspiracy Illuminati videos, and I the whole like devil worshiping thing aspect of it, I never could connect in a serious way. But the idea that powerful people get together and decide things and have similar hobbies and all that makes sense, and I've never not believed that that's true. So,
Mhm.
this weird ass fucking like occult shit, this like like demon worshiping, child blood drinking, fucking occult, like it's the shit of nightmares. It's literally like the like okay, like horror movies don't scare me. That scares me. That's why Eyes Wide Shut. I know I'm bringing this into movies because I'm a nerd and that's how I
Yeah, no, that's fine.
relate to
We
the
appreciate
world
your angle
is
on it,
through
Rob.
movies. But Eyes Wide Shut is a horror movie because the idea that incredibly beyond powerful people get together and can ruin your life or whatever because you've stumbled onto something you shouldn't have seen is just it's terrifying. So
Oh, well, not
I
to
hope
mention
it's
that
not
Kubrick
real.
died before the movie came out too, which
Uh,
also, yeah.
Trust me, I think about that shit all the time. So I hope it's not real. I'm as lenient as it gets when it comes to art and expression and doing disturbing stuff. But like all this stuff that gets added up together, absolutely gives me the fucking creeps. So I hope it's just a risque thing. But at this point, I don't think it is. I think
I
it's
will say
something much more nefarious.
it is kind of like the end game of nihilism though. Is like at what point, if everything is relative, when is it okay to grape a child? I would have asked 20 years ago, when's it okay to murder a child? So
And by the way, like the Washington Post tried to get away with doing a review of it was like a Broadway play about how society treats pedophiles too harshly when they get released back into the world. It's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, we're gonna have sympathy for these fucking people? It's like, well, where the hell are we going here?
I
Honestly,
missed
I
the
really avoided looking into this shit because this kind of shit really like obsessed the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I literally I saw that you sent that and I just avoided it because it's not something that there's for the most part when it comes to shit I love joking around, dark humor, like even
Yeah.
like violent dark humor. When it comes to this stuff, I don't respond too well to it. It's disgusting, even if it's a joke. But really, in the grand scheme of things, normal people don't joke about this kind of stuff because it's pretty much the most evil thing that can possibly happen.
Yeah.
And these people, they are evil, and the fact that they're just trying to hide it up, it's just this company is just entirely complicit until they do dive into this majorly and axe these people that are involved in this. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. They just want to pretend that it didn't happen and just keep it in their, I guess in the vault. But the fact that they actually can be disgusting enough to portray a child in some sort of sexual outfit, and I think it's horrendous. I
Yeah.
don't support any of that
Where
shit.
is
It's
this place
disgusting.
located? Its main base of operations?
I would have to look into it. I'm not sure if it's like an American company or not because I haven't do like the location. It's basically just the lot of the stuff that they were putting into the ads, but I can check it out while you make your point.
Because the way I see it, if it is, or if this is an American-based company, the law can actually step in as they are doing things that are technically considered child endangerment in certain states, unlike
Mhm.
California.
I was gonna say not
No
California.
offense to anybody from California, but your state is pretty fucked up.
Yeah. To
Um,
answer your question real quick, its headquarters in Paris, and it was founded in
that
Spain, so
explains it.
it's
I
not
mean,
an
look,
American company.
well, then that explains it because look at or look at what else came out of France, cuties. The thing is, the way I see it, they've been trying to sexualize children ever since cuties came out. I've been on the horn on my YouTube channel trying to warn people about it. It's like, if you let this go, if you let this become a trend, if you let this become normalized, it will get worse. You're going to be seeing kids in very exposed situations that they should never be exposed to. You're eventually, years down the line, because nobody decided to do anything about it, you might even see kids in sexual situations underage on TV. Not movies, TV.
Mhm.
And that should scare the hell out of parents. If parents are not paying attention to this stuff, they have only themselves to blame, first off. But look at what's been going on. This is now happening. And people who are saying, oh, you're just a naysayer, you're a doomsday sayer, and this and that. Motherfucker, have you been paying attention? Because
the thing is, since cuties, it's only gotten worse. I unsubbed I dropped Netflix immediately after the release of cuties. I have not subscribed since. Even though I know plenty of places I could watch their stuff for free, I tend to just not care entirely because it's the emotional aspect of like just completely pissing me off when it comes to stuff like that. I don't even want to go on a website to watch anything that you have because of how infuriated that made me. And since then, we've seen Disney go pretty hard on some sort of fucking weirdo ass campaign to introduce sexuality to children, acting as though they can be the parents of children and introduce things that are completely inappropriate. We have schools and teachers that want to pretend to be the parents of these children and introduce sex ed to kids as young as 4 years old. It's not gotten better. It's only gotten worse. And until something major happens, I don't see it getting better from here. It's only going to get worse. And this is just proof of it. We're going to continue to see more and more. And it scares me. It really does scare me because, you know, a lot of people like to say that like libertarianism, like this is okay in libertarianism. No, it's not fucking okay. No. You're dealing with children that are under the age of consent, period. So like the fact that anybody does try and tie this to any form of libertarianism, I want to cause harm to them physically for doing this shit. But I will not, because my libertarian philosophy of not forcing force on someone. Let's just put it that way. But until something major happens, I don't see this getting better from here.
I mean, the way that I see it, and it's a sad look on our society, but I think in a lot of ways we're all pissing in the wind until the shooting starts. And this is definitely one of the issues that we're pissing on the wind with.
Well, I do want to